Well, hello. I am always excited for podcasts, but I am very excited about today's podcast because I've been thinking a lot about this topic for some time now. Actually, for a very long time, for years. But I've never really unpacked it like I am going to today. So I am extremely excited. My room smells of pumpkin and spice and everything nice, and I have this lovely Rehoboam, I'm saying it wrong, but it's like a vanilla detox tea that I'm drinking with oat milk, so I'm very excited about that. The baby's sleeping. I'm just going to enjoy chatting with you, and it's morning when I'm making this podcast, so I feel extremely spry, which I love. I love to talk and chat in the morning. I'm most me in the morning. I get excited about things. I love getting ready, working out, getting ready, cleaning the house, making the space that we're going to spend our day in super cute and clean and fresh and smelling on point with the holiday or season. All summer I had lots of, what is the smell I love for the summer? I don't know. I always love pine. Pine is like a go-to for me. But right now, it's obviously November and Christmas is around the corner, so I'm kind of stepping into like Thanksgiving/Christmas smells, which I'm super excited about. And anyways, it's just nice. And my view this morning is of a mountain, just the bottom part. Not the whole view because I'm looking out the window because I'm inside because it's cold out this morning. So just a few pine trees and a bunch of rocks, the bottom of the mountain. So not exactly inspiring, but in a way, yes, it's the foundation. Well, it's not exactly the foundation. I'm halfway up the mountain, but it is what it is. So I'm just going to jump right into it. And my topic, as you saw for today, is why are women so competitive with other women? Now, I did some worldly research in addition to my godly research about this, and some things I just pulled from personal experience on both ends, receiving end as well as the giving of this competitiveness. So I am going to jump right into it. I took notes. Thank you very much. And yeah. So I'm just going to read what the internet says, okay? Just the little snippet I have here, and then, where is it? I have way too many tabs open for this. Okay. Now I'm just going to read. I'm just going to jump into it. Like this article I have. So, female intrasexual competition is competition between women over a potential mate, okay? So, I'm just going to read it. Such competition might include self-promotion, derogation of other women, and direct and indirect aggression toward other women. Facts are that influence female intersexual competition include the genetic quality of available mates, hormone levels, and interpersonal dynamics. So obviously, feeling aggression to have their own mate, to fight other women, not actual fight, but be competitive with other women so that they can have the right mate, hormone levels, and their dynamics. Compared to males, females tend to prefer subtle rather than overt forms of intersexual competition. I don't know why. Okay. However, they are also less likely to resolve a conflict with the same-sex peer. Okay? females will promote themselves more often when males demonstrate various abilities to provide secure resources, protection for offspring, or when the costs of competing are inferior to the benefits gained. They choose males with highest possible qualities that can maximize reproductive success. Attractiveness and gene quality are both believed to be highly correlated. This is saying a lot about like over a guy, which I would agree in a way. Okay, the next one. The ovarian cycle phase is an emerging concern in exploring issues related to female intersexual competitive behavior. It has been found that when fertility rates were maximized during ovarian phase, women gave significantly lower ratings of attractiveness to other females. Ovarian hormones affect how females view their potential competitors and cause them to behave more competitively. It's because you're like wanting to make a baby, your ovarian cycle. So you want to rate the other people lower so that you can be higher. Many studies implied that testosterone levels were one of the key factors in aggression, competitive behavior, and social situations. When testosterone is produced in the brain and gonads, am I even saying that right? In both genders, I can't pronounce these words, androgen receptors in neural and peripheral tissues are being processed and trigger behavioral and psychological responses to testosterone. The role of these steroids is to activate or facilitate aggressive behavior. High levels of that's just testosterone in general. High levels of estrogen are shown to have an effect on women's derogation. I'm probably not saying that right. On potential competitors, i.e., rating other females' faces as less attractive, but there are no effect on ratings of male attractiveness, so they just still rate men high. Okay, interpersonal dynamics. They kind of categorize these. Oh wait, I'm going to finish reading. Females often compete with their own sex to gain attention of potential mates with high genetic qualities in order to induce reproductive success. Miller et al.'s study revealed that presence of another sex individual leads to testosterone. I always say testosterone. It's testosterone enhancement. The ratio of females to make in the course of competition might after... Okay, well... Biosocial status hypothesis indicated that to win in the female competition it is thought to enhance in testosterone production, thus facilitating violent prevailing behaviors and exhibition of high status, whereas losing in females competition lowers testosterone levels, which weaken the tendency of competing. Well, okay, so they basically broke this down into 3 different categories. Basically, over a male, like fighting over a male, basically depending on their hormones and depending on their dynamics, interpersonal dynamics between women. I feel like there was another article I was looking at, but I'm not seeing it anymore. So they're basically saying mostly fighting over men, which happens all the time for women, based on their dynamics, like their relationship, women, and their hormones. Okay, well, the world seems to say, like, I mean, it's not that it's not a thing, it definitely is a thing. For some reason, women seem to compete a lot with other women. For example, my brothers grew up and they like maybe fought once or twice their whole lives, where my sister and I fought a lot all the time. and it was so competitive. We're always competing with each other. And it was probably based because of me. You know, she wasn't that competitive at all, and she was always so giving and sharing. So it was me. I was the culprit, you know, growing up. So, anyways, I'm going to start by naming a few obvious reasons why women are competitive. And then I'm going to come back and talk to you about how to overcome all these things. Okay? So, number one, the obvious reason why women are competitive: insecurities. Women see another woman with longer, more beautiful, more lush hair, and immediately they are wishing they had that, to be that for a male. I mean, that's number one on the internet said, what the internet said. Or maybe they just want it to feel more secure in who they are, or more beautiful to build their security, whatever it is. You know, also, this is a side note, I read an article that said men are more attracted to women with longer, thicker hair than women with shorter hair. And the reason for this was that originally men, before like society standards of women were as such, they saw women with long, beautiful, lush hair as healthy and healthy for mating and reproducing babies. So, I mean, they're not wrong. I mean, long, thick hair is usually an indication of health. And yeah, so interesting. But men are naturally attracted to women with usually long, thick hair. It's just an attractive quality. And women obviously see this as beautiful, you know. And so, you know, they're seeing lots of, you know, you see a woman that you've never met or walking down the street, and she has some type of quality, let's say, really amazing shoes that are way beyond your income level. And like these shoes would be like what you make in a year is what these shoes would cost. And immediately you're starting to feel like your worth is not as much, that you don't bring enough to the table, that you aren't as beautiful as her because you don't have enough, whatever. You know the drill. I don't even have to explain it to you. You know the drill. And everybody's felt this before, once in their life, because the devil is a liar, right? And he likes to play on the same old lies, and they're always lies. So insecurities are a huge piece of the puzzle, because you see something you desire or wish you could be when you're not even looking at who you actually are. You're diminishing the things that God made you and created you to be. He created you to maybe have red hair, which is beautiful, and red curly hair, which is gorgeous. I love it. I'm all about it. And you see someone with long, straight brown hair and you want it so bad and you just wish you had it. But, I mean, the grass is always greener. There's always somebody that wants what you have and you want what other people have. So it's better, you know, well, I'm not going to get into that. It's just a never-ending cycle, and it's just a lose-lose. You're envying what other people want, what other people have, and you're desiring something you could probably make it happen, but your hair is always going to grow back curly and red, even if you want your hair to be straight and brown your whole life, you know? So these insecurities are going to, of course, foster an insecurity, because you're looking at what you don't have and will never have naturally, because you just don't. And that's okay. And I'll get into that in a minute. Number 2, comparison. This kind of stems from insecurity. It does. Comparison in our society is chock full of comparison. It's like Instagram, it should be called Comparison 101. And that's sad. It really is, because it's not meant to be that. It's not meant to foster depression or insecurity or fear or comparison. It's meant to bring people together. It's meant to, help people stay in touch, not compare lives with the people around you. But comparison is kind of actually what I just talked about. But so they kind of blend together. Like insecurities can be comparison, but comparison, well, no. I was going to do something philosophy like filled, but I'm not going to. So comparison is you always want what other people have, and you're looking at everyone around you wanting everything that you're not, and you'll never have because you're not naturally that way. But maybe you can lose some weight and that's fine, whatever. Or you want to gain weight, you want it in your hips, or you want a BBL. I'm not going to explain it. Google it. No, maybe you shouldn't Google it. Okay, I'm just going to explain it. It's just a Brazilian butt lift, like the Kardashians. Like, yeah, you can do lots of squats and you will build a natural looking bum, okay? But what the Kardashians have is fake, okay? And you don't need something that's not you. You want to be who God created you to be. But comparison makes you compete with other women. You see what other people have. Maybe they are married with 5 kids and that's all you've ever wanted. And you're a single person that's been single for 40 years. Okay. I understand, but again, the grass is always greener. The mom that's married with 5 kids probably just wants a little time to herself. And you get all the time you ever could need to yourself. You can go travel. You can quit your job and start a new job. You can move to Vienna. You can, whatever you want to do. Your life is so free. And you have your family to be with you too. But then the mom, then there's the person that's been single for 40 years and sees the mom that's married with 5 kids. Well, yes, of course, the obvious things. You have a person to be with you forever and you have kids and those are great. But there's pros and cons to everything. And you don't always get to see what's happening in the other person's life. You don't get to experience, like, even the people that you see on social media. I know I'm jumping around a lot, but bear with me. The people you see on social media, nobody has it perfect. And I know you hear this a million times, but they don't. And everything we think we could attain to make our lives perfect, it's just anything we can see in this world is never going to be enough. There's only one thing that will satisfy and keep you happy and will satisfy your desire for anything else. There's only one thing that will take away all your longing for feeling like you're not enough. Sorry, I had an intruder, but it was fine. It was for a good reason. Yeah, there's only one thing that will take all those desires and all those longings away from you, will help you to feel completely, it will make you feel joyful in any circumstance. Any, and I mean any circumstance. You can feel joy and peace in with this one thing. But I'm going to get to that later. Okay, number 3, fear. You know, fear is a common situation, emotion that will cause you to compete with other people. I think a good example of this is today's world, you know, you seeing somebody that has, now this could be a stretch, but this is not a stretch for a woman. Seeing someone with a very put together house. And you always see it only put together. You may see it on social media, but then you always see it in person. They always have it put together. This can stem, which all of this is fear. All of this is a lie. All of this is demonic. You go down this whole rabbit trail of, well, my house isn't that clean, you know, and maybe my husband doesn't like it. Maybe he's upset about it. Maybe, you know, my kids are getting sick because they're not clean. It's not clean enough in here. And it goes down into comparison and fear and worry and stress, and then trying to compete and trying to keep your house just as whatever, looking as decorated and well kept as your neighbor, the Johnsons or whatever, the Kardashians, keeping up with the Kardashians, you know, like you need to, you know, okay, so fear will always steal your joy. Fear will always take from you. It will never give to you. Fear of being alone. Fear of being tied down. Fear, I don't need to go through all these things, but maybe, I don't know. Maybe you haven't thought of these things. Maybe you don't need to think of these things but these are just reasons why. I think for me personally, where I've experienced this is that there's a fear of losing control. And a fear of not being enough. And this is where the competitiveness has come in for me, I think, from childhood on. And it's funny because I remember in 6th grade, I remember younger than that, just always comparing myself, like, oh, I'm really, really good at this sport, but they're really smart in school, but I'm so good at this sport, and they could never be this good at this sport, but I could never really be that good in academics, so whatever, I guess I'll take this, that I'm good at sports, you know, like compares, like weighing people's attributes against mine, and always trying to find what is best in mine over what is in other people's, instead of truly, genuinely celebrating the best thing about XYZ girl, you know, like truly celebrating them in their accomplishments and in what they're good at. And I think society really needs to take a turn, and I think women really need to truly and genuinely not feel competitive with one another, but to genuinely support one another in their accomplishments and what they've done, and to not feel insecure along the way, but to know that you have the Lord, and that means you have everything. You don't need to be the best singer. in the world to have value. The person that is the best singer in the world has lots of value, but they might not know their value if they don't know the Lord. But when you know the Lord, you know your value and your worth and how much of a treasure you are. You don't need to have certain qualities. A lot of times you can grow your talents and your abilities. So you don't need to feel that you need to be the best, because in actuality, nobody will ever be the best. There always will be someone better. And even if you are the best for a moment, there's always someone incoming that will be better. So it's to put your hat on that, on being the best at something, which I did. I wanted to be the best in basketball, and I had to be the best. And if I wasn't, I was depressed, bro. It was tragic. But I didn't know the Lord, bro. I didn't know the Holy Spirit. I didn't know. I knew the Lord, but I didn't know him the way I know him now. And I didn't know the Holy Spirit. I was never baptized in the Holy Spirit during that time. Fear of not being enough. Fear of not being able to measure up to what is treasured and beheld and beloved by the world is a losing game. It's always a lose game, because nobody will, not the whole world will never agree with you and love you and treasure you. The only one that matters is the Lord. If he loves you and he treasures you, he desires you. And he does. So how do we overcome all these things? How do we overcome all the things that I mentioned? How do we overcome all the things that the internet mentioned? Is it we that is overcoming this? Yes, there's hormones, but you can submit your hormones to the Lord. Hormones sometimes have an imbalance, but you can ask the Lord to balance them, and he always gives you a way out. If you're feeling like crazy, he can give you a way out in that moment, and he always does. He gives you a good option to clear your mind, to have, a sound mind. He gives you that option. So, number one, I heard a pastor once say, you have nothing to fear, nothing to lose, nothing to hide, and nothing to prove. You're made in God's image, therefore you're valuable and perfect. I think I used to say this when I really felt extremely insecure. I had an extreme fear of serving. Now, let me explain. The first time I ever served, I think I was 16, and then I just never learned. Like, nobody ever really taught me how to serve, like, be a waitress really well. Not serving, but like a server, like a waitress. To be a really good, efficient waitress. And nobody ever really taught me. I worked at a golf course. They just kind of threw you into it. It's like small town golf course type situation. And so I did what I could. And I always worked at golf courses. And I just had a fear of serving because people would yell at me. The first time I ever did it, people would yell at me if I got their order wrong, which I did all the time. I couldn't remember it. I would write it down, but then sometimes I would forget to put it in, or bring them the wrong food, or the food would be cold, or I wouldn't have the silverware out right away, or the condiments, or whatever. Their drinks weren't always refilled. Like, just not a good server, you know? Just never taught the right way to do it, you know? And things always got confused on where I took notes. I always got really confused onto how to organize it. I didn't know how. And if I had a lot of tables, everything would just get so messed up. I wouldn't really know the menu very well. Just not good knowing how to be a good server, okay? And then I served, until 18, 19, 20. I started doing beverage cart, which is like on the golf course, but like you're just handing them drinks that you have right there. It's not like a whole order. And I was good at that. That was easy. But then fast forward like 10, 15 years later, I'm serving as a side job in addition to my regular job while I'm doing ministry school. And I somehow land in the most crisis of times needing a second job. I land this serving job where it's like high quality servers. Like you have to be like an exquisite server, and somehow they chose me. And I wasn't good at first, and I got a lot of things wrong, but every single day I would compare myself to everyone else. I was just like, I wish I could be like, I would have much more value in myself if I could just serve like these people and do a good job, like I just felt like I needed to have this quality to be able to be a good person, a better person. And every day I would have so much anxiety going to work because I was just worried that I was going to get yelled at again or disrespected again by a customer or, embarrassed or get something wrong or people be rude, whatever. Or like my coworkers be rude or my manager be rude, because it's just a really dark environment. It's really high energy and it's really stressful and super anxiety filled. Okay? So every single morning I had to submit my heart to the Lord because I would grow so much anxiety during that season. So much anxiety. I was just scared I was always going to mess up, And so every morning I would sit in my car, I'd get there early, like 10, 15 minutes early, not wanting to be there early because just thinking of the growing anxiety that was within me, that I would have to go and do a whole shift, which is like 10 hours, of just constant worry and fear about what was going to happen. But I would sit there and say to myself, I have nothing to fear, nothing to lose, nothing to hide, and nothing to prove. Because I'm chosen by God. I'm the light of the world. My worth is the blood that came from the cross, came from Jesus himself. Jesus paid a price, and he paid with his blood for me. My value is unmeasurable, on no level. There's no level of worth. The worth is invaluable. So is yours. And I would say these things, and my anxiety would lift. I would begin to feel his presence. I would begin to feel peace. I would feel rest. I would know rest. Rest would become me. And I would go into work, and the music is blaring loud. You can barely hear when you take people's order. because of the environment. So freakishly loud. That's why I like the patio shift. Because you can hear what people are saying. And then the spirits in that place were crazy because everything was allowed to be there. So of course it's going to run rampant. And my heart would remain in rest. My heart would remain in peace. Because I would continually say these things. My value isn't determined by how I do today. No matter what mistake I make today. I might make, I would say. No matter what mistake I might make today. It doesn't determine my value. It's just a mistake. My worth is determined and already paid for by God. And I'm so thankful. I don't have to measure up to anything. Okay. Moving on. I think another way to overcome this is to be a better you every single day. Don't look at other people's version of what you could be, because that's not attainable and it's just not you. Be a better you every single day. One thing you can do is make a list. Write down all the qualities that you admire about yourself and treasure about yourself. Not in a narcissistic way, but in a gratefulness kind of way. Sorry about all the other noises we have. Yes. Anyways. But in a gratefulness kind of way. Like I'm grateful for whatever it is. You know, you are an amazing painter. Praise God. And you use your paints for preaching the gospel and giving glory to God. Just write down all the qualities that you actually really treasure and are thankful and grateful and you really like about yourself. Write them down. Capitalize on those qualities. Accentuate those qualities. Those qualities aren't just who you are. It's a part of you. Who you are is a child of God if you've accepted Christ and believe. But these qualities make you you and make you unique and are important and have deep, deep value. So stay humble. Like, for example, I really value other people. I value other people's company. I value spending time with people. And that's a quality that has shined through my entire life. I genuinely am excited and genuinely curious about other people and what they're interested in and what they're doing and what they're growing in. Yes, not in a comparison way, but genuinely celebrating other people in what they like in life and who they are. That's just a natural quality of who I am. Another thing is I've always been really athletic. I really do well when it comes to athletic things, trying new sports, trying new athletic things, and I'm grateful for that. It has helped me my entire life, helped me channel, where I had too much energy. It helped me, get calm, so to speak, and focus on other things. I had too much energy, but athletics helped me, eliminate some of that energy in a healthy way, and I was good at it, and I made lots of friendships, and I learned invaluable lessons through athletics, and I am thankful I grew up with athletics, because even today I love to be in shape. I love to run. I love to lift, and I love to swim and stay in shape. And it's I get excited about improving my physique, so to speak. I'm just excited about it. And that's not everybody is excited about those things. And I'm thankful. I enjoy it. I recently have loved to cook and make really good foods. And I've started to get really good at it. I'm not always good at it. Caleb and I like to try a lot of new things. We'll look up a recipe and try it. And it's very often unique and unusual, which we love. But I sometimes get it right and sometimes I don't. But when I get it right, I usually really get it right. And it's awesome. And we both really enjoy it. And I'm really grateful for that. And that we like to eat healthy and unique and fun and special. And yeah. So you get the gist. But if you can sit down and make a list and really write down in your journal all the things that you treasure about yourself, you don't have to compare yourself to anyone else, because you are treasuring who you are as a person, and you're grateful for who God created you to be. Some things were natural and some things grew, and that's amazing and such a gift. Focus on those and develop them, all the things, more. Like I said, capitalize on them. And compare only to who you were yesterday. Not to anyone else. But are you better at the guitar today? You practiced 15 minutes yesterday and 15 minutes today. And you learned a new chord and you got the song down that you were learning yesterday. Amazing. That's all there is. Just improve who you are yesterday. Maybe you spent time with the Lord yesterday and the Lord showed you a place in your heart that you haven't forgiven somebody. Well, that's amazing. And now you get to go and call that person and forgive them and tell them how much you love them, and you want to strengthen your friendship with this person. And then today you begin that friendship and you meet with them for coffee, and you genuinely celebrate that person. You are growing in a magnificent way. Just those little acts are incredible, and you're growing. You're genuinely celebrating your friends. You're not competing with them. You're not envying them. You're not wanting what they have. You are genuinely excited for them. You're genuinely pumped because they are growing and they are excelling. And that's so important for you to be a good friend, is to genuinely be excited for them and celebrate them. And as women, we need other women as friends, as sisters, as mothers, grandmothers. As friends and family, it's essential. Number 3, maybe you need to spend some time off social media. I think social media often fosters comparison at a high level that is super unhealthy. Maybe spending some time off of that and not focused on other people, but focusing on bettering yourself and maybe encouraging and helping the world around you. Maybe you're going out and discipling other people or evangelizing, doing other things rather than just focused on what other people are doing. And I think the last thing is to focus on Jesus. rather than on other people. Keep your attention on Him. I wrote this as the last one, not because it is of least importance. It's in fact the most important thing. But I really wanted to emphasize this because when your focus is on Him, your focus will naturally be to love the world around you. It just naturally happens. It's an overflow. So from that natural overflow of loving the world around you because you love Christ, because He loved you first and you love Him, you'll naturally love the world around you. You'll naturally celebrate the world around you. Because you want the world around you to succeed. You put others and consider others greater than yourself. Not in a demeaning way, but in a love kind of way. I hope this really encouraged you today. I hope you were inspired in some way. I hope this helped. Please leave a review and subscribe and share this podcast maybe with a friend. And thank you so much for listening. And I will see you next time. Love you. Bye-bye.